It means that we have the opportunity to say no to God at any time and still feel justified by the other things that we do in the name of the Lord. Amen? That's really the difference. If anyone's ever worked with a financial advisor, all of you who've been smart enough to get your credit cleaned up at one time or another, your financial advisor wants you to take, he doesn't just tell you what to do. He wants you to take stock of your present situation. Anybody ever go through this process? And they say, this is all I want you to do. And it's grueling. It's tedious. But if you really do it, it really does wake you up. Ain't that? Before I got married, my credit was, terrible. Terrible. For a couple of reasons. A couple of reasons was, when I was young, I started making a whole lot of money. And, when money starts coming in, you think money's always going to come in, so you just spend a whole lot of money. Amen. And the second thing, this is the worst trap in the world. As a college freshman, you step on any college campus, and on orientation day, you get any credit card you want. By the time I was 3 weeks into college, I was like, So, as a young man, financially irresponsible, I had some credits to clean up. Then I decided I wanted to get married. And I said, well, no, I can't take old life into new life. Amen. I got engaged in September of 01. I got married in October of 02. So September of 01 to October of 02 meant cleaning up my credit. And thank God by the time my wife walked down the aisle toward me, she was walking toward a man that was debt-free except for student loans. But what your financial advisor tells you to do? So he doesn't just say, here's a solution. He says, I want you to take an assessment of your present situation. And I want you to write down every penny you spend. That's what he wants you to do. Write down everything you spend. If you spend 50 cents on some gum, write it down. And then after a certain amount of time, we're going to sit down and look at your present situation. These are your habits. This is who you are. Right? Because we don't just spend money because we feel like wasting money. This is who we are. And so our advisor wants us to take an honest look at who we are and where we waste. And then, just because you want to get your finances in order, that doesn't mean more money is coming. What do you have to do? You have to redirect. You have to redirect what you presently have. Amen? Amen? And so now, when my goal is to be more financially responsible, when my goal is to clean up past mistakes, I have to look at my present situation and see what am I currently doing to contribute to my bad situation, and I have to start redirecting and turn bad habits into better habits. Physical trainers do the same thing. Physical trainers do the same thing. Anybody, you get a physical trainer, he says, I want you to write down everything you eat this week. Everything, same thing. If you eat a mint, write it down. Because we want to assess your current situation. And this is who you are. Amen? Spiritually, it's the same thing. Spiritually, it's the same thing. Last week, we talked about playing that little game, Who Am I? Right? And if I say, I woke up in the morning, all the other guys at the station woke up, I started cleaning up the station, we made sure that the truck was clean, and we listened for any alarms to go off, and you're a fireman. Right? Because just by the virtue of my activity, you know who I am. But if we play that same game, well, I woke up this morning and I went to work. Work was it was all right. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just all right. I fought the traffic. I went home. I made dinner. I watched a little TV. I called my friend. We talked for a little while. And then I went to bed. Who am I? I'm a Christian. Now, you didn't do anything bad that day. But what about that day indicates that you're a spiritual giant? What about that day indicates that you're a messenger of God? What about that day indicates you're a minister of God? What about that day? You get the point? And so take an assessment of your day, of your week, of your year. Now, some of us will do this because some of us are really serious about making some breakthroughs. Some of us this is going in one ear and out the other, and it is what it is. But write down everything you do in a day. And then look at who you are. That's just an assessment. And it's not an accusation. It's not an indictment. It's a let's take an assessment of who we are. And what is it about my present life? What is it about my present activities? What is it about my present habits that announce to the world I'm a blessing to you? Amen? And then once we actually have that assessment of ourselves, then we can start trying to redirect. We can start trying to hear what God is telling us about how we use our time, who we spend our time with, where we spend our time. I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about time. Time. And we start redirecting that energy to start getting that transformation of mind. Amen? And then you start really noticing what you say when you say, no, I can't. Because you might look at a good intended brother and say no, but you're looking right through him up to God and saying,
Yeah, no, God.
Nope. I don't care what you told him to tell me. No. No. Because I have old obligations, old people, old loyalties, old affiliations. I have my old self to live up to instead of walking out into the newness of who you are calling me to be. Amen? Amen? And so the newness is never going to be found dwelling in the old places. Abraham had to launch out to go find what God had for him. Amen? He had to launch out to go be who God wanted him to be. He had to launch out to go get the people that God wanted him to be a part of. Is that all right? Is that all right? And this is really what we're going to get from Galatians, more and more of God challenging us to really understand what faith is and stop putting stock in the ritual and the ceremony that somebody at one point in our lives passed off as faith and we bought into it. Amen? Amen? Because somewhere along the line, somebody said, you better not forsake the assembly, and we decided that was faith. Somewhere along the line, somebody threw 5 acts across your lap, and you decided that, hey, we took it. We took it. And the reason I know we took it is because I see what we do on Sundays, and like I say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and again, ain't nobody going out shooting dice and having card party all day. Ain't nobody hiring strippers. But we're not doing anything in our day that's indicating that we are people of faith. Is that all right? Is that all right? That's the encouragement. That's the encouragement. And we have to march to the beat of the drum of faith. Because when God says go, we got to go. When God says do, we have to do. And it's because God said it. Because we are the people who have been given the promise. The promise. And all we have to go on is the promise. Where's God going to take you? I don't know. I know where you end up in the end. What's God going to have you do on the way? I don't know. But I know where you're going to end up in the end if you are obedient and faithful. Is that all right? Is that all right? Come looking at the room. We're all home folks. Let's stand. This is our opportunity. We have a statement to make. We have prayers to ask for. Any kind of testimony. This is the time. This is our song of invitation.